Hello, we're going to be doing some drawing. Going to be using pencil and inks to start with, and then over the next few sessions we're going to be trying a few different things. Warm-ups, things that will get you drawing a little bit more freely. This is especially for people who don't think they can draw. We're going to start off with just a basic drawing session where we're going to draw a couple of household items, such as these Kokeshi dolls, which are quite nice. We've got a couple of these made out of wood, just really nice little objects that you could pick up anything in your house. It doesn't have to be personal or valuable. All it has to be is just a basic shape, something that's just a nice simple shape, a little bit of detail. It doesn't have to be anything wildly complicated, although you could do something complicated if you like. We're going to be using a selection of drawing implements like propelling pencil. I've got some ink pens here, which are different fine liners, different thicknesses. I've got some Sharpies, thick and thin Sharpies, and a rubber, because we're going to start in pencil and then finish off in ink. We've also got some graphite sticks. I've got a propelling graphite stick here as well. It's essentially a big pencil. Alright then, so we'll get started. Okay, so I'm going to start off drawing these little objects. I've grouped them together. I'm just going to start off just drawing some basic shapes. These are very easy to draw, so it won't take too long. I'm going to draw these in pencil as well, so there's not going to be any worry about getting the line wrong to start with. Later on we're going to be working directly in ink. It's something that requires a little bit of bravery really. If you want to work directly in ink, you've kind of got to get it right first time. These kind of egg shapes are quite nice to draw. If you enjoy drawing, there's a certain amount of kind of zen satisfaction that you can get out of drawing something and spending some time on it and basically getting something from nothing that wasn't there before. So I'm going to draw these shapes in very quickly, and if I don't get it right, it's no bother. I can always rub it out later, alter the pencil line as I do it. So these shapes are coming together now. The basic shapes are in place. I'm now going to look at the detail of these things. If you look at them quite closely, there's very little detail on it, but what there is very nice. It's kind of a very kind of typical Japanese design, very simple, very effective. So for this, I'm going to start to add a little bit of detail in here now. Kind of get these shapes in place. Nice sweeping curves. And then again for the same kind of thing for this, the sister to it, which is the same but slightly different in its colour. So I'm going to add that. These seem to be hand painted as well, which is a nice feature. So there's the first and the second shape. Now I'm going to rub this out later on as well. Once I've put my ink on, I'm going to go through it with a rubber and get my lines exactly as I need them. So these are a little bit of 3D going on here, where I've got to put this piece of wood in place. The eyes here are quite weird because they're kind of upside down eyes almost, which could kind of quite evil, depending on how you wanted to treat that. So this is actually needs a little bit more of a base adding to it. So I'm going to add a little bit more to it there because it looks almost like it's going to fall over. Detail wise, it's all starting to come together now. I'm going to put the hair in of this one. They're very symmetrical, so very easy to draw. I'm hoping that you've found something quite simple that you'd like to draw as well. Also, once you've drawn them, it'd be really nice if you could take a picture of them and put them on the Facebook page under the comments, perhaps for this exercise. Over the coming weeks, hopefully, we'll be doing some different exercises, and also what I'd like to do is for people to request different things to draw, which will obviously put me on the spot, but could be quite interesting in how we could get around these kind of things. I tend to do a lot of kind of comic art, so everything's very simple with a very simple line to it, which is what we're going to do now, really. Okay, so this is kind of in place now. I'm just going to put in the eyes very roughly where they're going to sit, and there's these kind of big lashes which are painted on here. These lovely little mouths which are like little ticks, little red ticks on the face. So there we've got our basic shapes. I'm going to start drawing in some other detail on this now, but what I might do is find some tasteful way of showing things going quickly, a little bit of fast motion, maybe some kind of tasteful music to it, maybe. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing there. Right, so pencils down. We've got all the pencil work in, so this is the basic design here. It's not taking up the full page, but it doesn't need to. I have no reason for putting lettering around it. I don't need to fill it with anything. I've just got it occupying a nice amount of space on the page. I've drawn it quite big because it needs to be able to fit in the camera, obviously. I'm going to do some ink work now. So I've got some fine line pens here, which are different, a range of thicknesses. The thickest one being this one, which is a brush. They call it a brush. It's a thicker pen, almost like a kind of brush nib to it. These ones are quite thin. I'm going to be using a 0.5 fine liner pen just to get the basic lines down. Now to do this, you've got to kind of trust in your line, in your hand as you're doing this. And I have not got the steadiest hand. So I'm going to kind of just trust in my hand to give me the line that I want. If it's not quite there, it's not the end of the world. Obviously for a technical illustration, I would be looking at doing something a lot more accurate, maybe getting rulers out. For the purposes of this drawing though, I don't really care too much if it's slightly out. In fact, one of the nice things about drawings, in my opinion, is that if you do make some slight mistakes, it makes a very interesting drawing that you might not have done before. Maybe with full control, the drawing might not have looked as good. The these shapes are starting to build up now. I'm putting some absolutely basic shapes down, and then I'll add some detail later. One of the things I'm also going to do is use a thicker brush, pen rather, to add a thicker line, and one of the illustration tricks that I like to use is using a thick pen to go around the outside of the edge, and it kind of blocks it into place kind of thing. What I'll do is I'll finish up this drawing using the magic of fast speed animation again, with a very sensitive, subtle song to it. That's all cleaned up now. I'm going to use a slightly thicker pen now, just to seal the deal. I'm going to put a thicker line around. I'm going to use this, the thickest of the fine liners that I've got is described as brush. It's going to give me a thicker line around the outside edges. Some of the lines I want to stay quite thin. Some of the lines I'd like to keep thicker if possible. So this will give me a slightly thicker line. I'm already going over the line that I've put down, but again, I'm not too bothered about absolutely sticking to the line. And the lovely thing about this kind of pen is that it gives you a very if you go from the side, it gives you a very thick line, and then from the end you get a thinner line, just like a brush. So again, if I wanted this to be really precise, I would be spending a lot more time on it. I'm just going to use some of these lines need to be thicker. Now, getting this line right, following that around, so you can see this is a lot more kind of already, it's becoming a lot more kind of graphic in a way. And even though I'm overshooting the lines in some cases, I'm not really that bothered. I can always switch it around later on and make some more changes to it. But you can see that the drawing is starting to come together a lot more now. So I'm going to do this a little quicker. Right, last few bits of detail here. I'm just going to add these little bits that are left over. Because I'm using the brush pen, I'm getting a very kind of brushy effect with these, which I really like. It gives me not the same weight of line all the way through, because this is slightly flexible, and as I push down on it, it gives me a different kind of stroke. So thicker around the edge and then thinner around the top, which I quite like. It's a much more painterly kind of way of drawing something, if that makes sense. So quickly blocking in a few of these lines. I would now go onto this and start to fill black into it. So black here, black there, black on these edges. But I won't do that for this. This is just about putting some lines down for the purposes of this exercise. So that's about it really. We have a finished drawing. Needs a couple of things doing. A little bit of colour would be nice. I'll splash a little bit of colour on that. So for the next session I'll show you where we're at with that. Okay, so that's the end of that then. Next time we'll be looking at slightly different ways of getting lines down and things that we can use. We will still be using these Kokeshi dolls though, because like I say, they're very simple to draw. And you bring something along next time for the next exercise. All right, thank you. Bye.